Hello, I'm Nige.
I'm Anders. Um, as you can see, we are together.
Yes, I've taken a trip down to Dorset for the weekend, and it's been very exciting, hasn't it, Anders?
I have. So this is. I don't. We were discussing what we call this episode. I think we're going to call it an out and about special. We're obviously not out, but we've been out, and we came across a gift shop selling
Yes,
beer. So we
it,
thought, let's combine these two. Now,
it was the Tank Museum.
it was the Tank Museum.
Last year, my daughter bought me a Friends Off Bovington Tank Museum membership or something. So I've got free visits, and I took Anders along today. So I wanted to go again.
It was joy. Yes, tanks. Tanks are just they're massive, they're huge, they're exciting.
Tanks and beer. It doesn't get any more manly, Anders.
It doesn't. No. So anyway, like I say, we found ourselves at the gift shop at the end, and we found some beers, didn't we?
Yeah, and usually overpriced beers in the gift shops and things like these touristy places we walk past, but I noticed they're all brewed by the Piddle Brewery.
Indeed.
Uh, and I know that brewery quite well, and they make rather good beers.
They do, don't they? They're quite.
And then I
Yeah.
said to Anders, yeah, let's do let's do a review of the beers and the tanks, because we've got lots of pictures and things of tanks, and we want to share it with you.
We want to share it with you. We didn't share all the beers because um, you don't need to know this, but because we have time together, we're going to spend an awful lot of time drinking, but not for your pleasure, not on this occasion. No. So
Anyway,
we limited it, didn't we?
we've got three beers for you.
Yeah.
We'll get the first into the glass, and then we'll start talking about the beers and the tanks.
We will. So the first one we're doing is going to be
Black
Prince Bitter. So this comes in at 4.1%. So sort of solid best bitter range, really. 4.1%, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to put beer cow on, and I'm going to pour. We're sharing this between two of us here, this bottle. So there we go. Oh, hello.
Yes, Piddletown, well, Piddle Hinton, I think that's where it is in Dorchester, well, near Dorchester. The brewery's been going since about 2007, and when I've had it in the pub, you can actually go, barman, could I have a pint of Piddle, please?
You can do that,
Which
yes,
is just so cool. Or a bit worrying, depending which way you go.
It's proper old Dorset-y type stuff, isn't it? Really, this kind of Piddle Trent Hyde, Piddleton. It's just
There's lots of Piddles.
Lots
It's the Piddle Valley. Anyway, uh, they've made brilliant best bitters or session beers in the past, which I've tried, and we've got three today. I'm so excited for this.
so there we go.
This is
Hello,
the bitter.
which is a little bit lighter than the camera would suggest.
It's got quite a little bit of sweetness coming off the aroma.
Oh, it has, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be. Let's talk about this in a second, shall we? Let's just get it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cheers.
Chin chin. Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on there. Right, it starts off quite tame.
Yeah. There's
Back end, there's something coming in.
there's more going on still now.
Yeah.
Are you getting just a hint of orange in there?
I'm not sure. I know what you mean. I don't think. Yeah. It starts off, and you think this is the best bitter, and it still is. Doesn't
Yeah,
change
yeah.
from that. But suddenly, after a second or two on the tongue, it explodes with flavour,
Yeah,
don't it? It's a very bitter
and then
flavour.
it dies away, and then You get this sort of this secondary
Yeah.
flavour thing going on. It's not bad. I quite like it. But the Black Prince is actually a tank. I think it was a British tank from the Second World War.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll talk about the day.
We'll talk about the day, yes, because I mean, I haven't been for so long. I live in Dorset, and it's about what 40 minutes away from where we are in Dorset. And I tell you what, it's changed since I was last there.
I was there last
huge.
year. It hadn't changed since then.
No, but it has changed in the 20 odd years since I
Yeah.
have last been. And it was, yeah. I mean, it takes you through the very beginnings of the tank, obviously.
We spent a long time going through that part. It's awfully well done. It really is. But all the way through the whole museum, there's dressing up zones.
Mm.
I think it's mainly for children, but we
We did get a bit carried away with that, didn't we?
No, yeah, and we have photographic evidence. Here's Anders,
Yeah,
looking ever so dapper. And actually, I put that picture on my family chat. And my son came back and says, "Did Anders wear that there especially? Because it looks so natural in it, and so
yeah, yeah. I carry uniform off quite well
you certainly do."
with a beret.
I know, and we both quite like the berets, and
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna have to get one.
I'm gonna have to get one. Village. Oh, I'm not gonna advertise them. I get all my hats from Village Hats, but there we go.
Anyway, I was a desert rat.
You were a desert rat. You were.
I had my tin hat on. I mean, little
Shamago, I think they're called.
because I'm quite a tall chap, and nothing fitted me.
Nothing. Unfortunately, those jackets were just a little bit too.
Yeah, very disappointed.
Yeah. But yeah, so you go through the first part and you see the Mark Ones and things like that. Then you move on, and then you move on to the Second World War, and you see these extraordinary pieces
Of machinery,
stroke engineering. I think the first tank that I kind of became obsessed, excited by really was the Tiger.
Well, we look at all these little tanks from the First World War, and then the second one, you see the small ones, and suddenly you turn the corner, and it's just this Tiger tank, which you can see the picture of now. It's quite large.
It's huge
compared with the other tanks of its time.
Yeah.
And we were just so excited.
The engineering is just extraordinary. It really is.
And it's actually got 2 bullet holes, well, shell holes. Well, not holes, just dents.
Dents.
Because
things have been ripped
pinned off it. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just so exciting.
Following that, I think, was the Chieftain, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was more of a modern tank, but you just liked it.
I liked it, but I think that was a relatively old version of the Chieftain.
Yes.
So 1950s, so strict 60s, I think, perhaps.
Yes.
Again, I like my tanks. I've decided. I didn't realise that I had a kind of tank. But I like the angular ones that are kind of with turrets like that, as opposed to these molded Sherman type things, which are kind of bulbous and
it was too sticky uppy, wasn't it?
Too sticky uppy.
Flat enough.
Not aerodynamic enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the thing it hit us was how big the guns are, how long. And to give you an idea, Anders took my photo.
Yeah. And again, here we go. A selection of barrels.
Like I said, I'm quite a tall. I'm 6'3".
Yeah.
Just they were big.
They're huge. Well, as you can see, they're huge. Yeah. And again, you can see these things, these shells that are put in there. That, again, geez.
Anyway, we're going to get back to you in a minute with another beer and the next section of the museum. Stay tuned.
Okay, so Nigel finished this before
I've finished mine already.
Yeah. What I'm drinking. your final thoughts on this?
Yeah, my fun is it doesn't say what hops are in this particular beer, but I think there might be Admiral hops because they had that not for a bittering hop, but it's just that hint of orange, just ghosting.
Ghost. That's the perfect word for it, I think.
And towards it, it was a nice pint. Well, half pint. I would say my only criticism, it's a little bit watery. It could do with a little bit more body, I think. Or it might just be because it's really fizzy out the bottle. That might be the.
Might be. I think I didn't notice that until
But having
you
said
mentioned
that,
it.
it went down so quickly because
It's so drinkable. I think that
which is what you want from a best.
we've talked about this before about best bitters and there's not being enough about, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. We moved around the museum,
And there's one section, and it's all about tanks in films and things
in the media.
In the media,
and for men of a certain age, I will tell you that I saw a Scorpion tank, and I liked the Scorpion tank. I didn't know much about it, but apparently, the Scorpion tank is the basis for the Action Man tank,
which I had when I was younger.
which I had as well. I was very excited by that. But there's a little section there entirely dedicated to the film Fury.
Yes, which brings us on to our next beer, which is called Fury.
Yes, absolutely.
IPA, and in bringing it into the film, it's a blend of British and American hops.
Yeah. So I'm going to get beer can going, and then perhaps you can talk a little bit about the film Fury because I haven't got round to watching
Well,
it.
I think that might get me wrong, but I think it's a Firefly. There's two versions of the Sherman tank. Sherman tank, the gun wasn't big enough to blow up Tiger tanks. And so the British got hold of them and said, right, we'll put a new gun in it. And they put this big gun in, which could shoot Tiger tanks. And they had to put it on its side because it was so big. And then there was no space for the radio. So they welded a box on the back of the tank. And that's where the radio went. But as you see, we've got we'll show you pictures of the tank in question in a minute. But it was very, very exciting because the tank's quite dressed up as it was for the film, because this was the actual tank. It was in the film, and it was driven in the film by the people from the Tank Museum.
Yeah.
Although there was one of the actors who was the driver, he did actually drive it in the film. When you see his head sticking out and the tank's moving, he's actually really driving it.
Michael Pena is his name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, how exciting. Not only being an actor, but getting to drive a tank.
Yeah, absolutely. So there we go. Here's Fury.
Yes.
This is an IPA.
4.5%.
Yeah.
It's a bit nondescript.
Yeah, I've got a lot of head in the way, though, to be honest with you. So perhaps.
Right, I'm going in. Cheers.
Chin chin.
That's quite an odd flavour.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. The aftertaste that is doing the heavy lifting with anything there, to be honest with you.
Anyway, we'll talk about the beer a bit more. We got pictures of the tank. They should be appearing on your screen now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was. Anders hasn't seen the film.
No, I will see this.
But I'm gonna have to watch the film again because I've touched the tank.
The tank. Michael Pena. Yeah, no. Again, it's a Sherman tank, so I'm not a huge fan of it.
Sherman Firefly.
Sherman Firefly. Yeah,
which is the British adjusted one.
Yes.
to make it work better.
We're going to be a bit better, but it still looks a wee bit ugly and
Yeah.
barbless, as you can see. So, um, so
Anyway,
your thoughts on this?
I don't know.
I'm a bit underwhelmed.
Yeah, I am
Well,
as
perhaps
well.
underwhelmed is too much. I'm certainly not overwhelmed by it, and
No,
I'm not
it's
whelmed.
actually. I think what the problem is, you think American hops, IPA,
Hmm.
you're thinking big punchy citrus stuff, and
Yeah,
it tastes more like an English IPA.
it does, but it
And I'm
doesn't.
just
Yeah,
now that I've got my mindset into this is an English IPA, I'm starting to enjoy it just a little bit more.
yeah.
Again, I think this is a bit overcarbonated.
Yes, I think it is. Taste, I'm not really
No, I'm not
getting
getting
an
this.
awful lot. Again, the taste is coming at the
No,
end.
I actually, it's got a real dryness at the end, which is redeeming it for me.
Hmm. I'm not
Oh,
sure. I need some time to think about this.
yeah, we'll get back to you in a minute
Yeah. So there we go. What we did was we swirled this around.
to get rid of the bubbles because
It,
it was just so overcarbonated,
it really was. Yeah.
and we got a lot more of the flavor coming through once we debubbled it.
Yeah. You noticed first, didn't you?
Yeah, so more flavor coming through. The first thing it hit me was I can taste wheat. I don't like wheat beers.
We don't know. Um,
Uh, most British beers and ales will have something called torrefied wheat in, which is wheat is being treated at quite a high temperature, and it doesn't actually impart any wheat flavor, but it gives a good head on the glass.
I was going to try and give you another phrase, and that was all I could think of.
I know, and me, that's why I paused.
Yeah.
It gives a good head and a good and body,
Yeah.
good body and head retention. That's the proper.
Well done. Good. You pulled
Yeah,
that one out of the bag, didn't you?
after
Excellent.
ruining it at the start. But
Well,
anyway,
you know, we got there in the end. Right. So after we got rid of the bubbles, like I say, there was a lot more flavour coming through, and to be honest, the body of it became much more acceptable. It was a bit cream. I found it a bit creamier.
yeah, it was okay. It had a like that dryness, and it was just that
A hint of a burnt malt right at the end.
which I liked, but the wheat was a little bit overpowering for me.
Yeah. So, um,
I
not the biggest of fans, let's face it.
no, it's a thumbs down for the boys here.
Yeah.
But we've got one more beer, and we've got our two favourite tanks to talk about.
We have.
Yes.
So, should we go on to the next one? Let me get rid of this first.
Yes. This one, it doesn't tell us what type of beer it is. All it says in the bottle, it says, I love tanks.
I love tanks. Give tanks to tanks.
And it's limited edition.
Limited edition. I love tanks is a real thirst quencher when cold from the fridge, or go traditional by not bothering to have it chilled. We like it whatever the temperature. It's the favourite of the Piddle Brew crew.
So, and it contains barley, wheat, and rye.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
we got this one because it said it was 5.1. It was the strongest one
yes, the
they had.
strongest one we could find. Yes, because we're like that. Right.
Word.
Right. You won't see this, but I'm having a bit of a nightmare here.
Exploded out the bottle.
Exploded out of the bottle there. And thankfully, I'm equipped to deal with things like this.
Because this is a beer channel and these things happen.
Yes, indeed, they do. So let's try again. Let's try and get a better shot on the second pour here.
Oh, I think it looked good on the first one.
It sort of, it just kind of took the top off, and I won't say what I was
I
going to.
don't,
I'm not going to say what I was
I
going to
don't think
say.
it's
It's
a
terribly
rotten
rude.
condition beer either.
I don't think it is. No.
Just a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love tanks. We've got no idea what sort of beer it is, but
No.
apparently it's a favourite of the crew.
Yep. I'm going to finish pouring mine. That's that done.
Oh, this is giving me
Oh shit.
this is giving off vibes of a golden ale, I think, and it's got that colour of a golden ale.
It does do have that.
So I reckon this is going to have a little bit of sweetness and lots of bitterness.
Yeah. And yeah. Just to clarify things here, I also work from this desk here, and I have a desk mat here with which I use my mouse and things like that. It is now drenched in I love tanks. Done my best to clear
Oh,
this.
and beer in brackets.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely. So
special edition.
yeah,
Anyway, let's taste the beer.
let's taste and see how it
Cheers.
goes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a golden ale.
No,
That's
oh,
you don't.
I was quite liking that, and then the aftertaste hit.
No, I quite like it.
Oh yeah, okay.
Anyway, we'll talk about the beer a bit more. Let's get back to tanks because I love tanks because it was our two. When we're going through, I've been through the museum recently, and I just wanted to go to my favourite tanks straight away. And I started rushing forward because I just wanted to.
Yeah, I lost him. He was like an out of control dog. He ran off. Didn't know. I mean, he came back again. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it.
And anyway, when Anders came around the corner, it was a wow moment when you see it, isn't it?
This is the Target 2 we're talking about. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
Tiger 2, which or King Tiger, sometimes it's called.
Yeah.
It was probably the most or well, the most what's it? It's probably the best tank of World War Two.
I think it was probably the most effective, wasn't it? I think.
It had
If we take into consideration.
basically its frontal armor, nothing could go through it.
No.
Its gun could go through anything, and it was just massive. As you
Yeah.
can see from the picture, it's just
It's huge.
huge.
And again, it's much more of despite the fact it's huge, it's still quite streamlined, isn't it?
It just looks nice.
Yeah.
But they didn't make many of them. But so much metal in it.
There is. Yeah.
Anyway, and then you think, oh, that's my favorite tank, and then we go into the Jag Tiger,
JAGD Tiger. I don't know how you
which
say
was the biggest biggest operational tank of World War Two.
Now you see, I'm thinking about it now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's my favorite or most loved tank, but it is astonishing to look at. It's like a block of flats with a gun. It's huge.
Pictures coming up now.
Yeah,
It's just massive.
it is.
Now, what I used to there's a big section in the museum dedicated to the World of Tanks, which is an online computer game. And there's also World of Tanks Blitz, which is one you can play on tablets or phones. And I used to play the Blitz thing on a tablet, and it's a bit addictive. And I used to play with a mate, and anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew all my tanks inside out because I'd fought with them on this game. That's why the Jag Tiger was so special, because I like playing that one because the gun was so awesome. It just obliterates anything if you get hit on
it. Yeah. I mean, it is astonishing. And again, this is a thing you mentioned, which was the difference between German tanks and Russian tanks. How Russian tanks were made in such great quantity and kind of thrown together, and not, gaps in between sheets of into
Well,
but there was enough of them. It was a case of throwing enough shit
it,
and
it
some
was
of it
it was
sticking.
a statistical game with the Russians because the average tank lasted a week to 2 weeks before it was broken and blown up.
Mhm.
So why spend a lot of time getting everything absolutely perfect on it, where the German tanks were just over-engineered. They were perfection.
They were,
They're
yeah.
probably sent back in the production line because the little chain was
Just
2 millimeters off.
yeah.
It was, but they're just engineering masterpieces. Anyway, back to the beer, Anders.
I did have to taste of it, and I've got a little bit of ice cream float in there. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Do you remember we did those
We did some blonde,
golden? No,
golden. Was it?
no.
I know the one you're talking about. There was a specific
Oh,
one which I can't quite put.
was it? It wasn't blonde ales, was it?
Might have been blonde ales, but there was one in
There was the
particular.
Saltaire blonde.
Saltaire blonde. That's the one I'm thinking of. That had an ice cream float flavour to it as
Was
well.
it that one, or
I think
was it the backyard brewery one?
I think it was a Saltaire.
Oh,
I'm not entirely sure. You can go and check this if you. Did we record that?
yeah, we've got a. I'll put a link
Yeah, yeah,
underneath.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah.
that episode was particularly special for us or me because I think that's when we that episode we got into our stride. I think that was the
That
crossover
was yeah, yeah. I think you're right.
because in the early days of the channel we were just, but that one it started clicking
Clicking.
when
Yeah.
we're just this is production wise and just us talking on camera
It
and
got
things.
a lot smoother. Whereas beforehand, I was a little bit Porky Pig, that sort of thing. Um, this right, okay. So, like I say, ice cream float flavor to it at the very beginning. There's something at the back end. Tell me what you
Sherbet.
think it is.
Was that sherbety? Just no.
I am not. No,
No, it's not. That was I've
but
got
I
the
can see why you would think that.
yes.
There's something there.
Anyway, I think we've talked. We had a smashing day.
It was smashing day, and we didn't get around. And I don't know. I didn't mention it to you,
What?
but I saw a couple playing tank top trumps.
All right.
There's a. I don't know why this makes it better, people, but obviously when we were kids, and I don't know when they didn't exist, but there's the top trump games where you split a pack of cards between the two of you, or however many there are. You select a category and you try and pick, and you win.
Yes.
This was made better by the fact that the cards were bigger.
Oh, I didn't see
They
that.
were about that big, like A4 size.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah, but people were playing, and we were busy looking at tanks.
Hmm.
It's an interesting way of learning. That top trumps is it's a great way of learning basic facts about stuff because it sticks in your head.
I know that there was many other tanks which I equally liked. The Matilda, there's lots of Matildas there.
The top two.
The Tog 2 was we didn't really photograph it because there's bits stuck out.
It was kind of out of reach part of it. So,
But the Tog 2, I think there was only a couple made. It was built. I'll see if I can find a picture to put on because it was a cross between a First World War tank
yeah,
designed for the Second World War because they thought they're going to have trenches, and it was just over-engineered, huge, just massive, and it was just so unpractical for the modern warfare of the Second World War. But it's just a beautiful piece of
it is,
engineering.
and very much based on the like I said, the early Mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
And it's called the
First World War.
Tog 2 because the designers of it were the people who designed were on the design teams for the original tanks in the First World War, and they got back together to design a tank and it was the old gang. So Tog, that's hence the name. But anyway, if you get a chance to go to the Tank Museum, do go. It's just brilliant.
It's really good. Honestly, I'm not sure of prices because we both got some sort of
Discounts and stuff, but
discount. But
it's you get once you pay to go, you get a free return visit or as many visits you want. I think it is.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's you can't get around it all. Well, you can, but we were shattered. We did about 4 or 5 hours walking around, and that was it.
Yeah.
But there was a whole new section we didn't go through, the restoration yard and things.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So next time. Anyway, we thought we'd share our day with you. Tanks and beer. What could be better? As for the beer, I think it's the first one. Okay. For me, the pick of the beers was this last one. I quite like this one.
Oh, I go for Black Prince first.
All right, yeah. It was close,
Yeah, I preferred the bitter.
but that was 4.1. This is one better at 5.1.
I'd forgotten that. Yes, you're right. It's one better.
Yes.
So
On that
yeah.
bombshell.
There we go. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for listening to our name waffle. Take away plenty from this, please. Until we talk again, though. Goodbye.
Goodbye.